Hello and welcome to TYT Community. Today we're going to talk about somebody who got a stripper for their 16-year-old son's birthday. Fun times. But today, first I want to introduce my co-hosts, Rhiannon Avaneen, and our special guest, Brian, a.k.a. Pirate Fish, from our Canadian correspondent.
Hi, everybody.
So the Young Turks did a story on this, and I'd actually like to show you the clip to give you some context, and then we're going to dive right into the story. So let's just watch this clip first.
33-year-old Judy Viger has been charged with 5 counts of endangering the welfare of a child.
Okay, now it's the mother who got arrested, not the stripper.
It's the mother who got arrested. The strippers did not get arrested. Obviously, the minors did not get arrested. But just to give you more context into the story,
That's plenty of context.
there were, yes, that is plenty of context. There were several other teenagers there, some as young as 14, and the parents were not notified ahead of time that there would be scantily clad or not clad women at this event.
All right, so might as well do our own little Supreme Court here while we're in. I'm going to start with you, Ree. What do you think? Guilty or not guilty?
Oh, this is a hard one because I don't necessarily think it was the right thing to do, but is it something criminal? Nah, not guilty. Not
what
guilty.
about you? What about you, Brian? Okay, so we have not guilty.
Well, see, I don't know. This is tough now because it's not so cut and dry here. Here's part of the issue. Was what she did for her 16-year-old son to give him a stripper at his birthday party, not guilty. Not guilty at all. That's not a problem. Mom did what she wanted to do. Many cultures do many things like this, even beyond this type of thing. Where I think we might have a small problem, though, is that some of these kids were under 16 and the parents weren't aware of what was going to go on. Here she might be guilty because I think, the parents should have been informed, and then those parents could have made a conscious decision whether they wanted their children to see this or not. So that's where I think she might have gone wrong. What she did for her kid, to give him the present, not an issue. To involve other people's children in it, and when I say children, I'm saying under the age of 16.
Now, when you get into that, now you bring up some good points. Now, if you're going to take the story at face value, I'm going to say not guilty. You know what I mean? Have at it. I think it's great. I think that's one of the luckiest 16-year-olds on the planet. But that said, you bring up a good point of where other people's children. Yeah, I do agree. You should have told the parents. And that's really, but child endangerment.
Yeah, no,
no.
Let her go.
Absolutely not guilty. Not guilty.
Not
at
guilty
all.
on that one.
No.
Not guilty. Should should she maybe get her like a reprimand or something? Yeah, I don't know. A small fine. I don't.
Maybe a fine. I would say let it be a private affair for the most part. Let it be dealt with privately. If one of the parents wants to go ahead and sue her or ask her for an apology or whatever they want to do, go ahead. But to get the police involved, to try to charge her with something, that's over the line. This is a personal matter. Why do we have to get
That's right.
the cops involved with every little thing? No one got hurt.
Put something
really,
on her criminal record is criminal.
Right, you're going to screw up her record and her whole life because she made a bad judgment call. And again, no one got hurt.
Again, yeah, it's not even a bad judgment call.
Well, to have the other kids there without the parents' permission is not.
Yeah, that might have been the bad judgment call. Yeah.
That is the bad judgment.
And there's some, there could be some argument for you're not exactly teaching your son to be, respectful of women by encouraging him to have a stripper, but that's a personal.
That's a completely subjective argument.
And it's absolutely not related to any sort of child endangerment. The only thing that kid was in danger of is creaming his pants.
That or crabs if she was a skanky stripper.
The only thing that 16-year-old got is a really good story for the rest of his life.
Not only that, but maybe a pretty good view.
And being able to say I have a really cool mom.
Yeah.
And let me say this also, when I mentioned before, when I was talking about under the age of 16, again, I'm not trying to say because they're minors or something, because again, age of consent and whatnot, what could be considered adult, it varies a lot from states to state. But if I'm not mistaken, it's New York State that they're in. That's right, they're in New York State, where the laws are age of consent can be anywhere as low as 13, depending on the severity of the crime or what the actual crime is. So even there, that's not the issue. It's got nothing to do with those children's ages and whether they could consent or not. It's got to do with respect to the other parents.
Right.
And that was the only thing, because these minors, whether they're age of consent or not, are still in the care of their parents. So their parents have a right to know. So it's more of a respect thing, and that's where I kind of go with what you were saying, Rhi. If they were to tell her, oh, okay, you've got to make a public apology, or you've got to issue these people an apology for what you did, I have no problem with that. Yeah, tell these people you're sorry for not thinking of them first. But to make her a criminal for this, that's absolutely nuts.
It's a waste of time.
Child endangerment. I mean, what were they in danger of? Seeing boobs. Oh
exactly.
My God.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the U.S., and I talk about the U.S. in particular because it's not North America. Canada, don't include Canada in this, or South America, because the U.S. is so obsessed with nudity and sexuality that it's a bad thing and you can't see it. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
On that same note, I'm wondering if any of the parents, or I'm sure a couple of them maybe, but I'm sure not nearly the number of parents would have gotten nearly as upset if, for instance, that mother had taken them all to a boxing match where two guys are beating the living shit out of each other. And here in America, we're way too obsessed with nudity and sex, and we're too offended by nudity and bare breasts, and we're more offended by that than blatant, bloody violence. You know, whether it be on TV or in the movies. You can have the bloodiest, nastiest, violent battle scene in a movie, and it'll still make it to PG-13, but you show one boob, goddammit. And immediately that's rated R.
LaToya shows her nipple at the Super Bowl, and it becomes a national incident.
Do you have a nip
MTV is banned. Okay, do you realize that MTV was banned from doing the Super Bowl after that because of that? MTV forever and all time banned.
But check out South American TV. It's not beyond South American TV for talk show hosts to suddenly have, never mind a wardrobe malfunction, it can happen where they'll have their wardrobe ripped off them and suddenly be nude on the stage. Or never mind a nipple slip, their whole breast will fall out of their top. And this is no big deal. People are like, that was nice.
Could you imagine some of these people, some of these conservatives watching that? Oh my God, their heads would explode. You would have to mop up all around conservative areas. You'd have to go up and mop up most of Alabama and Mississippi. I mean, serious, heads would fucking explode. They did when they had the nip slip. And now, and this gets into a little bit more of a serious point. There is a law, I forget which state, but there is a law that says it's a felony to show a breast. North Carolina.
Did that actually pass? I heard that they were talking about that was something being tabled. I didn't know if they actually passed that, though, did they?
Yeah.
And it was all based on a group of 11 women who were protesting something. And really, they were just baring their chests to bring attention to the issue. And that's what outraged them. For those 11 women, breasts are now to be banned.
But I cannot believe we are banning breasts. Like, seriously, what is wrong with this country? And it's because I think we're still pretty much in a Puritan mindset when it comes to sex, morality, we're still very conservative. We're way behind Europe. In Europe, I don't think they really care.
Well, the most ludicrous thing about it all is all these people who want to make things like breasts, showing your breast illegal and banning
not just illegal, a felony, felony.
A felony. No, they not only want to make it a felony, they not only want to ban Latoya for a nip slip. These are the same people who want smaller government.
It was Janet.
Oh yeah,
no. These are all the people who want smaller government. Get the government out. We don't need the government. Oh my God, she's showing a breast. Take her to jail.
Get government. Can you arrest these? Can you ban these people for showing a boob? And that's essentially what it is. No, they don't want smaller government. They want fundamentalist government. They want government small enough to fit in your vagina. That's what they want. And that's really what it's about. It's about controlling people's sexuality. Why would you make bearing a breast a felony unless you really want to control how women dress? They want to bring women back to a conservative, a modesty. They want to bring them back to conservative modesty in their dress because they say, well, that's wrong. If they could, they would be like, oh man, look at that lady over in the hijab. We should have did that.
Right,
what were we
because they are made uncomfortable by their own sexual feelings, and they blame the female for those sexual feelings. That's the way it's always been. That's why they have to cover the women up in the Middle East, because they believe that the men will, well, that's not what they believe, but they tell the men will lose control of themselves and not be able to help but rape the women if the women so much as show too much of their face, or in some cases show any parts of themselves, including their face. So they have to have the complete full covering on.
And you know what the irony is here's what happens when you stop people from expressing any sort of sexual feeling. They get frustrated. It builds up. Especially in men. It really builds up, and it just gets you so frustrated. It's like a massive case of blue balls.
I gotta do it or I'll die.
It's just one of those things where it's like, after a while of not being able to see any part of a woman, you got to think, man, that elbow is actually looking pretty fine.
Oh,
but
dear.
that's seriously how it goes over there. But it's not the man's fault, and it's not the woman's fault. It's the fault of the society that says you have to ignore your baser human instincts to be attracted to this person, to have sex, because of some dumb fucking book or collection of books that tell you that having sex outside of marriage is wrong, and that actually being a human being and having sexual feelings is somehow dirty, wrong, and should be banned.
Well, and central to that is also, of course, oppressing women and keeping women subjugated so that they can control women, they can control breeding, they can, it's an ownership thing. The initial purpose of marriage was to have ownership of the woman so that you could keep track of whose offspring was whose, and you'd know who owned who and what belonged to who. And it's all about ownership. It's all about control. It's all about, domination and making sure that everyone understands the status quo, which is also the purpose of class systems. And of course, we're getting into a whole other tangent of
doesn't some of that
matter.
Doesn't some of that come from the Bible and basically saying that it's Eve's fault that we were kicked out of paradise?
Right.
Because she ate the apple.
To establish that whole Pandora open the box thing, women are the source of all evil in the world. And now having to keep women modest and having control over them is is their punishment for their trying to eat from the tree of knowledge.
But because snakes talk.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
So the essence behind the stripper story is really, it's not about what this woman did or didn't do wrong. It's about the fact that we demonize sex, and we demonize especially the naked female body.
And just to sort of I don't know if I gave my opinion earlier, but on the whole story, as far as this woman is concerned and what she did, all in all, not guilty. Let her go. Tell her she should apologize to the parents, and let's hope that she's more responsible in the future. Or, sorry, not more. Forgive me, not more responsible, more respectful in the future.
Yeah, I'll agree. You know, let her go. She's not a criminal. She should have told the parents, but you should leave the government out of it. You should leave the police force out of it. They got better things to do. They have better things to do than to go and arrest somebody for hiring a stripper, not a prostitute, but a stripper.
Right, absolutely. This is a private matter. It's not a federal issue. It's not a police matter. You know, they have violent criminals to deal with. This woman's not a danger to society. She didn't put anyone in danger. She was disrespectful to the possible wishes of probably most of those parents. But other than that, no, not guilty. She didn't put anyone in danger. There's no reason to charge her with child endangerment.
And you just know that the people, and sorry, Rhea, but you just know that when all these kids went home, it was all the moms who went, she did what? She did what? And all the dads went, yeah, can you imagine? And then they went into the den and went, man, why didn't my mom ever do that?
Right,
that was all the dads.
But, you know,
the dads
I would,
shit. That was great.
All right, so
I wouldn't have responded that way, though. You know, I would have been like, well, she should have let me know, but, you know, I hope you had a good time, whatever.
Thanks, everybody, for watching TYT Community. Check back at our channel, like and subscribe us, and we'll keep releasing videos every Saturday night around 8 p.m. EST. And thanks for hanging out with us.